Witchblade, issue number 1. So, what to say about this new Witchblade series? Well, basically, it takes everything that people know and like about the original Witchblade and just throws it out the window. uh, this Witchblade series seems to know less about Witchblade than I do, and my only knowledge of Witchblade is from the anime. So it's not that much. Well, I mean, at least I do know that the main character's name is Sarah and that she's a female cop. But other than that, all my Witchblade knowledge comes from the anime, which, as far as I know, kind of does its own thing. But yeah, we get a new protagonist named Alex who is bland. I I'll admit right here. Right before I hit the record button, I actually had to go back and look up what the hell this main character's name was. That's how memorable she is. I can't even remember her name, and I literally just finished reading this issue last night. So it's morning, by the way, at the time of this recording. So this was literally the last thing I did before I woke up, and then it was the second thing I did after eating breakfast. And even then, I couldn't even remember this girl's name. So we start off with Alex, and she's out in the snow, and she's bleeding out, and basically someone says death is in the end, it's just like a doorway to the other side, it's a rebirth. And then she wakes up, and she has a nightmare, and it's a nightmare that she's been having for a while now. So we see her getting ready for work, she takes some pills, and I will say this, the artwork is actually not that bad. Not my favorite, but it's good. It's better than a lot of comics that I've read. Could use a little bit more detail in certain panels, but no complaints. Alex works for the Witness Aid Service. So basically, she protects witnesses before they go to trial. And her current client is this woman who is married to a dirty cop who beats her. I could make a whole thing about how men always seen as villains, but I will say I feel like that might be looking just too much into this. So yeah, I'm not really gonna rant on that and just move on. So basically, this woman, yeah, like I said, she's married to a cop who beats her, and he's a dirty cop. He's a dirty cop who beats her, and she is going to stand trial against him. So she needs protection until then. And then we have Alex back in her apartment where she sees some kind of vision or something. I don't know. It's not really too clear on what's going on. That's one of my complaints about this. It jumps too much between flashbacks and dreams with no segue in between them. So it's kind of like a little bit confusing on what the hell's going on, but basically she sees herself bleeding on the floor. Cause see, okay, this is weird. Okay, so she sees herself bleeding on the floor. Then the very next panel is her standing up getting shot. And then the next panel is her back on the floor bleeding again. So it's kind of like, what? Like, is this panel, like, what's going on? Why is she on the floor dead? And then she's standing up alive getting shot. And then she's on the floor bleeding out. It just seems backwards. But she basically has like a flashback of her life, which is pretty boring, except for the part where she is in Afghanistan and she gets kidnapped by a white guy. Yeah, it's really weird. Why would it be a white guy that she's getting kidnapped in Afghanistan? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe this kidnapping takes place some other time, but it seems like, okay, first panel she's in Afghanistan, the very next panel right next to it she's being kidnapped. It really insinuates that she got kidnapped while she was reporting from Afghanistan. But why would the people who kidnapped her be white? I mean, Afghanistan is not majority white people, so I mean, unless this is like CIA or some kind of top secret government that kidnapped her for some reasons. I don't know. Maybe she's like reporting on something that the government doesn't want her to report on. Maybe that. So I don't want to rant too much about this because I want to give this comic the benefit of the doubt, even though I probably shouldn't, for reasons that I will explain later on. But yeah, I just thought this was really weird. She is in Afghanistan, she got kidnapped, and she got kidnapped by a white guy. But yeah, she got kidnapped. She quit her job as a reporter, became a witness protection lady, and then yeah, we cut back and she's bleeding out in the snow, but then we also see her bleeding out in an apartment with her future client. So it does this weird thing. It keeps jumping back and forth between the past, the future, the present, as well as dreams, without any segue leading up to them. So it's just like you just kind of got to figure things out on your own. But she wakes up, she goes, in the bathroom, splashing water in her face when she sees herself bleeding from the eyes and she has white hair. So yeah, she leaves her bathroom to see her client dead with a bullet hole in her head. And then I guess all that like disappears. So that was like a vision or something. I don't know. Some dude like breaks in through the window and tries to attack her. Grabs one of the shards from the broken windows and stabs the dude in the neck. And he like disappears into smoke. And then she jumps out of her apartment building and just starts walking somewhere. Like it's so weird. Like I said, it keeps jumping places. I don't know if the original Witchblade comics did that a lot because I haven't read them. Like I said, my knowledge of Witchblade is I've seen a couple of episodes from the TV series, the short-lived TV series, if anyone if anyone even remembers that existed, and I saw the anime, and that's basically all my knowledge of Witchblade. But some dude approaches her from behind and basically tells her, hey, all the visions and the dreams, those are all real. They're not made up in your head. You're not going crazy. And then she passes out, and then she has, I guess, another vision where she's back in Afghanistan, and her friend approaches with the hijab, and her friend is white. So her white friend with the hijab, is that a cultural appropriation? I'm joking. Yeah, I guess her friend died because she's like bleeding from the face, and basically tells her, she's like, you're not suffering from PTSD. You died, but then you came back. Blah blah blah. Wake up. So she wakes up, and she's in some dude's apartment, and the guy again tells her, everything that you've been witnessing, everything that you've been experiencing is real. You died, but you came back. This thing is trying to bound itself to you. You have to let it do it. Otherwise, if you don't let it bound itself to you, you're going to die for real. But if you let it bound to you and accept it, then you'll become stronger than you were before. So then she's like walking outside when she touches the bracelet that has appeared on her arm, the Witchblade bracelet. And then she gets like a series of scenes or a vision or whatever where she sees all the previous Witchblade before her. So, there's a samurai lady. I'm assuming that's maybe Joan of Arc. There's a woman standing in front of a Nazi flag. I'm assuming she's not a Nazi, though. I think she's actually just ripping the head off a Nazi. And then there's some kind of, I don't know what the hell this is. I don't know what time period that's from. I'm surprised that, they didn't replace this panel right here with, Sarah from the previous Witchblade. That would make a lot more sense. But yeah, she gets a phone call from her coworker. Basically, the coworker's like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you never showed up to our court date. Now the cop that the lady was, the wife was supposed to testify against, he's out scot-free because he never showed up. Alex, rushes to her client's apartment. Here's the thing. On the way, what is going on in this panel? What is this dude standing behind her doing? He's, doing some weird, shrug walk. What is that? What is that, and why is he doing that? It reminds me of this one anime gif. I'll see if I can post the gif here. I gotta find a video version because Sony Vegas Pro is very anti gifs apparently. Anytime when I try to, it just ends up crashing my my editing software. I don't know why. But yeah, she rushes to her client's apartment where her client's husband is there pointing a gun at her, and he basically punches her and threatens to shoot her when Alex tells her, leave her alone, and then these green tentacles appear out of her and impale the cop, and that's how it ends. Okay, so here's the thing that I gotta just talk about. So the comics is by two ladies. It's by a female writer and a female artist. So the female artist, she's good. I like her. I like her style. Not my favorite style, but it's good. I got no complaints about it. The reason why I bring this up is because, well, let me just read you some of this. So, I was paying no attention to who the writer or illustrator was for this. until I was reading this, the basically like the little interview at the end of the comic. And the reason why I read it was that I was hoping maybe it would shed more light on Witchblade, get me a little bit more knowledgeable about this series. Rather than making me more excited for this series, this pretty much put me off of it altogether. Not because of the fact that it's a female duo, I have no problem with that, but just because of what they say. Okay, here we go. So, question. After 2 years without Witchblade in circulation and a 20-year history to live up to, how are you two pushing the legacy forward? Here's the female writer. Here's her response. I feel like we have a unique opportunity to offer a modern feminist take on the book. Yeah. Strike one. Really? Witchblade? You want to do a feminist take with the Witchblade of all things? You know, that comic that's very well known for its fan service? You want to take that and make that your podium for spouting modern feminist politics? Ah. So it's just sweet. So offer a modern feminist take on the book by respecting the soul of the source material and by introducing a new set of characters and new updated story that will appear to Image's current audience. Image really has no current audience. That's why it's starting to fail. It's because Image is currently trying to get an audience that doesn't read comic books in general. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are some Image comics out there that are fantastic. Like, I Hate Fairyland. I freaking love I Hate Fairyland. It's one of my favorite series of all time now. But, yeah, I mean, you look at other stuff from Image, you look at their sales, and they are doing really poorly. Image was one of those where, I mean, Image was like the number 3 comic book company in the world. Like right now we got the big 2, DC and Marvel. A lot of people were starting to think that Image would be huge, and instead of being a big 2, we would have a big 3. But now Image is barely getting like 10,000 copies sold for series, last I check. And it's because of this new audience that doesn't read comic books. So yeah, she says, I'd read Witchblade on and off as a teenager, but I haven't kept up with the book as an adult, so I'm coming into it with totally fresh eyes. Boom! Strike 2. Never put someone who has very little knowledge of a franchise into as a main writer for it. So, I mean, okay, I'm a writer. If Image were to walk up to me and say, hey, do you want to write Witchblade for us? Or do you want to write Spawn for us? I mean, I would probably say yes. just because, you know, I'm sure, why not? But it would be a really poor idea to put me on there because I have no knowledge, or the knowledge I do have is very, very poor and limited. There are so many other people that would do a better job than I would. But if they were to give it to me, I'd be like, I will do it only under one condition. That is, you give me every issue of the franchise so that I could read it all before I start, you know, writing, so I can be knowledgeable about what I'm doing. So if someone were to come up to me and say, hey, you know, we want you to write for so-and-so, but no, they just gave it to this lady who read it on and off as a teenager, but hasn't read it as an adult. So she has no idea about this franchise. It's like, okay. All right, here's the next thing. What can diehard fans and newcomers look forward to? The writer. Here's what she says. Witchblade is a total reboot with a new heroine, new continuity, and new backstory for the Witchblade itself. Basically, the previous volume is Patrick Stewart's Star Trek, and our book is J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. Strike 3, you're out. Really? J.J. Abrams' Star Trek? You say that like it's a good thing. You say that like being compared to J.J. Abrams' Star Trek is a good thing, especially when compared to Patrick Stewart's Star Trek. So you're going to compare classic Witchblade to Star Trek The Next Generation, and you're going to compare yours to J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. That is the dumbest thing you could have said. All you do is now any diehard fans are just going to be like, all right, nope, I'm not going to read this. J.J. Abrams' Star Trek is not a good comparison at all. You do not want to be compared to J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, especially when your predecessor is Star Trek Next Generation. That is not a leap forward. That is not a step forward. That's not even a step back. That is tumbling backwards off a mountain and down a cliff. uh, Question. History of Witchblade has mostly been defined by men. Really, you had to throw that in there? I mean, obviously it was defined by men. It was created by guys. How do you think it'll help flesh out Sarah's universe? Well, I mean, Sarah isn't in this, so I don't know why that's in there. But yeah, here's the answer. Fewer boobs. Okay. You say that like it's a bad thing. I think the new Witchblade will have a different reading key. We have a simpler protagonist. The more you explain your series, the less intrigued I am by it. It's going to be a modern take on Feminist. It's going to be the J.J. Abrams of Star Trek. It's going to have a simpler character. What about this makes me want to read this? Why should I want to read your series? Why don't I just go pick up some classic Witchblade volumes? I mean, like, everything that you say about the series just makes me not want to read it. Witchblade has always been a comic, in my opinion, that has tried to present a strong heroine, but didn't have much actual input from a woman. That doesn't need to be a thing. You can have female characters written by men that turn out to be amazing. One of the greatest, coolest female characters in pop culture history is Ripley from Aliens, and she was written by a man. I don't know, it's this whole like, oh, we have a black superhero. We have to have a black writer's take on it. It's like, but that black superhero was created by a white guy, and it got famous by white writers. I mean, just like, okay, you can have a white character done by a black female, and it can still be awesome. Like, you don't need to be the same gender, the same race, or in Marvel's Riri Williams Iron Man, you don't have to have someone who looks exactly like the character to write the story. You just need good writers. But okay, so we're going to have an actual input for women. So does that mean that all the male characters in this are going to they're going to have input from men? Are you going to go around and have men writing the male parts? I don't think so. I mean, the fact that every male in this comes across as either creepy, stalkerish, or a villain, and just this issue alone kind of tells you that. Here's another line I absolutely hate. So they're talking about the armor. And the writer, I don't know why you keep calling her writer rather than just referring to her by her name, but okay, I'll just Caitlin. Caitlin is the writer, Roberta is the illustrator. So Caitlin says, Roberta and I talked a lot about how to honor the concept of the living armor and, at the same time, update the design to divorce it from the heavy male gaze elements of the original. Male gaze. Okay. This whole male gaze thing is stupid. You look at He-Man, you look at Superman, you look at Batman, you look at any superhero, you look at any male character, mostly action male character, Conan, for example. Are you telling me that's not a heavy female gaze element? A lot of women like to say that, you know, thin female characters with big boobs are, you know, like they're a power male fantasy. So you telling me that overly muscular guys in skin tight spandex is not a power female fantasy? This thing goes both ways, you know. I don't know, like, you don't see anyone saying, hey, you know what we gotta do? We gotta give all of our male superheroes baggy clothing so that you don't see their muscular figures, because, you know, that's it just makes males, and boys, it just makes them feel even worse because, you know, that's a body that they can't, you know, obtain. No one ever says that because, you know, we don't care. Just like I'm pretty sure most females don't care either. The only ones who care about this heavy male gaze are the ones who aren't going to be reading your comics in the first place. So yeah, we wanted to convey strength and feminine power in the aspect of a warrior, and we actually ended up covering the host entirely. You end up covering the host entirely. So she's no longer Witchblade. You're not using the same character. You're not using the same mythology according to you. You're creating your own backstory and universe. You're not using the same design. What exactly are you using that's anything remotely similar to previous Witchblade? You could have just easily called this something else and just had your own franchise. It's something new. There's nothing in here that screams Witchblade. Plus, okay, here's the thing. You can play up the fact that she's wearing a revealing outfit when she transforms into Witchblade. Like she can be a character who is very insecure about herself, and when she wears this outfit, it even makes her more insecure. So now you got this whole drama aspect of it. But she has to wear this outfit if she wants to like take on these creatures and survive in this new world that she's found herself in. Look up an anime called Kill La Kill. The main character comes across this outfit that transforms her into like this hero that has like super strength and powers and stuff like that. But the outfit is very revealing. But the thing is that the more revealing the outfit becomes, the stronger the female character becomes. However, the character hates the fact that she's revealing a lot of her skin to other people. Like she's one of those where she's like a tomboy, and she's like she doesn't like wearing like revealing outfits. But the more revealing her outfit gets, the stronger she becomes. And it's this whole like her trying to accept the fact that she's gotta look like this if she wants to take on the villains in the story. And a lot of the early drama is her accepting that she has to wear this revealing outfit. Like you could have easily done something like that where every time she summons the Witchblade powers, she's in this revealing outfit that she does not want to wear, but she has to. And then now she's got to accept this outfit. You could play this up, but no, instead she's completely covered head to toe. Where are we? Are we in the Middle East now, where you can't have women showing skin? How have we gone so backwards? This whole feminist movement just confuses me, because you do the I can't even say the word because I'll get demonetized, but you do the beep walk where women walk completely nude as a sign of protest. You have them wearing hats with vaginas on them, some of them even dressing up like giant vaginas. But then now basically how the body's a beautiful thing, you shouldn't fat shame and all that stuff. But now if you have a woman in like a bikini, that's a male gaze element. I thought the female body was supposed to be a beautiful thing. So why are you hiding it behind a bunch of clothing, or in this case, a bunch of armor? I don't know. This whole new modern feminist movement makes no sense to me. I've given up trying. Here's another thing. Okay, Alex is very different from Sarah. Sarah is the previous Witchblade. Sarah was this great, tough, gritty, quintessential New Yorker. She was a blue-collar cop, scrappy and combative, very brash when the original book started. Alex has followed a very different life path. She's Sarah's opposite in a lot of ways. She's a wasp from Philadelphia, a New York transplant who doesn't really feel at home in the city. Compared to Sarah, Alex should have had a perfect life, but things rarely work out that way. They do share the same need to help the helpless and defend the weak. Alex just did it with a camera rather than a gun. What? All you're doing is you're making me want to read the classic Witchblade even more now. Sarah sounds like such a cooler character when you're comparing her to Alex. You are doing a poor job of selling your new character in your new series. Everything that you say, every time you even try to compare it to the original, you just make the original look so much better. Like I want to read about Sarah. I don't want to read about Alex. After reading this, I want to read about Sarah even more. Sarah is a cool, tough, brash cop who doesn't mind getting down and gritty and, solves her problems with a gun. Meanwhile, Alex is the complete opposite, and she solves things behind a camera. Why the hell do I want to read about Alex? Yeah, that's it. The rest of the interview is just like other stuff. I just wanted to point out those aspects of the little interview at the end. So yeah, that's Witchblade issue number 1. I don't think I'm gonna read any more Witchblade. I think I'm done with this one. In fact, you know what this Witchblade made me want to do? It made me want to go read the classic Witchblade, which I probably will do that instead. I'll see if I can track down some of those, because those actually sound a lot more interesting. And the character for that sounds a lot cooler and more intriguing than this character. How long do you guys wanna guess it'll take before they go back to the classic Witchblade design for the armor? I mean, they haven't even showed the armor yet in this one, which is kind of funny. You would think, very first issue, you don't even see the Witchblade armor. I mean, they tried to pull that with Red Sonja, and they tried to pull that with Vampirella, where they gave them new outfits that covered basically everything, and people absolutely hated it, and sales tanked, and then they had to revert back to their classic design. How much you guys want to bet that's going to happen here? Then again, maybe people don't care enough about Witchblade to put up a fuss. Maybe they'll just ignore this and it'll just it'll just disappear. They rebooted a series, took out the fan service, got rid of the main character, got rid of the universe, got rid of the backstory and all that stuff and the mythology behind it, so they can create their own modern feminist take. The creators, no, not creators, I guess people in charge, the writer and illustrator, but specifically the writer, has literally done everything that she says to kind of put you off from it. I mean, they got rid of the heavy male gaze, whatever that is. They got rid of the tough, gritty, cool, brash female character to replace it with this feminist female character who just sounds less interesting. They compared the classic Witchblade to Star Trek The Next Generation while comparing theirs to J.J. Abrams' Star Trek. Yeah, this is a one and done for me. After reading this first issue, I was on the fence about continuing it. It was more of a, you know what, I'll give it 3 issues, because I usually like to give any new series 3 issues to grab my attention before I quit on it. But after reading that interview at the end, yeah, I don't think I want to give this series 3 issues. I think I'm just gonna stop it here. This is just gonna be a one and done deal for me. I don't know. What do you guys think? Any classic Witchblade fans out there? You guys interested in this new modern feminist take? Yeah. All right, I'm just gonna end this here. Jesus Christ. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys all next time. Later.